Hello YouTubes, welcome back to the bench for another DCC decoder install. Currently have about 10 DC locomotives in the queue ready for a decoder. However, if you watched yesterday's train show haul, you'll know that I've got one little locomotive that just is desperate to jump the queue, and it's this little chap here, cheeky wee monkey. So that's what we're doing today. So this little chappie is a lifelike Proto 2000 and it is in fact DCC ready. Although it's not DCC ready for me, there's a few things I'll need to do first. Let's take a closer look down there. Now after that video I did actually strip everything right down because I thought I had a cracked gear, and sure enough I did. Happens all the time to the Protos. Anyway, that is taken care of, everything is lubed, and I've even gone into those little connectors and soldered them on, so we have 100% continuity from the rails to the circuitry. The problem with getting this shell off, there's nothing to grab onto. The chassis is down on that edge there, and you don't really want to be yanking on the trucks. There's little side covers here, so I can't even grab those parts there. How did I get... Oh, I know what I did. I can actually just push down on the coupler boxes at either side. I didn't screw it back in because I knew I was going to be adding a decoder. So maybe pull these outwards a little bit and push the coupler box up. Spin it around carefully and do the same there. Pull these side bits out, the sort of snowplow part, and push up the coupler box. So now it's starting to come out. A wee wiggle here. Now I'm using the trucks, but I'm not really yanking on them. I could possibly get a little screwdriver in there. I think we're nearly out, to be honest. It's quite tight because it's brand new. Just going to take my time. Maybe go back to the coupler box again, because it will be getting snagged on the side of that again. You see that there? If not, I will focus for you. I don't want you to miss anything. Push that up a bit more. This is always the trickiest part, getting these things off in one piece, because you get so much fine detail floating about. And it wants to come off. It wants to come off. Just a little bit more. There's nothing else holding it on other than the coupler boxes, really. Oh, there we go. Right, now I can get my fingers on the side of this chassis. Oh, careful. You see how that was wanting to detach there? Okay, I really don't know what's stopping it now. It just wants to live in here forever and ever. Come on, I'm trying to help you. Okay, let's first of all fix this that we just almost ruined. Just held on with a couple of clips. You see that clip down there? That needs to be in place. Oh my goodness, it's so fragile. Okay, the shell is back where it was supposed to be. Just having a wee look now at the lights, because we do have to change over the bulbs in this. As much as it is DCC ready, it does say in the instructions, which I read amazingly, it does say you have to swap out the bulbs because these ones will just pop. Okay, on to the next sesh. And by sesh I mean step, I don't know why I said sesh. Right, this is a little DCC blanking plug. So what we have to do, grab a Phillips screwdriver and remove that. So we're not going to be needing that again. We could maybe keep it for any future. No, I'm never going to use it because the whole purpose of this little thing is to act as a dummy. Look at all those little diodes. All those diodes are to control the forward light, the forward rear light functions, I believe. There's nothing else really useful there. And this is what we need to plug our decoder into. It's an 8-pin decoder plug input. However, I don't have a wired up decoder. I do have the plugs with some wires, and I do have the decoder with the wires, so my options are to strip all these wires. Let me just grab the new decoder and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to be using this decoder that I got for $10 at the same train show. It's a TCS T2, so it's quite an old decoder, but I don't need it to do much. That's the decoder. This is the wiring harness that comes with it. But as you can see, this wiring harness does not have the plug that I need. Let me get this. I don't know why there's an extra brown. What is that for? I wonder. I need to read the instructions. It's got an extra brown wire. That looks like kind of an afterthought, doesn't it? Anyway, this wiring harness plugs in there, like so, and then these wires all connect to those colours there. So I could cut these wires and then strip them and then strip those wires. You can't see what I'm talking about. And basically rejoin them like that. Or I could not bother with this one and use this one that I just seem to have lying about and just cut these wires to the right length. Let's see, I can go anywhere. I think I've got enough height. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can put this anywhere. And solder, to continue what I was talking about, and solder the wires directly onto this little plug here. And we can use this one just as a guide for where they go. I think that's probably the safer bet, to be honest. Saves having to solder wires all together and get heat shrink and all that kind of thing. So let me get my soldering iron ready. The only downside is the colours are slightly different. Let's see. This one has... Oh, it's okay, because we're not going to be using the green and we're not going to be using the purple. So I think all the other wires do correspond. Right, let me get my soldering iron ready. I think we're just going to go for that. We're going to wire this directly to that. Right, I'm going to snip these wires down. I really don't need much. Let's go that much. That was brave, wasn't it? Now, we're not going to be using the brown. However, we might use it in the future, so I'll leave enough that we can always use it. We're not going to be using the green at the moment. We're not going to be using the purple. It's another one we can snip away. If I can get it. Oh, it does not want to be snipped. And that leaves us with the red, the orange, the blue, the white, the yellow, the grey and the black. I will explain what they're all for once we get to it, okay? Unless you don't care, in which case I won't bother. So I'm going to strip a little bit off of these and carefully solder them on to one of these, because I should have 8 and I've got 7. Hold on a sec. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I guess one of them isn't used. Which one is not getting used? Ah, that one under the white. Don't worry, I'll give you a close-up, but there's definitely one that doesn't get used, just in case you're confused there. Let me show you. So this is the white, and underneath the white you can just see there that that one does not get used. This one here, which also looks like it doesn't get used, is actually where the orange wire was attached. So that just fell off. So yes, we're only going to be using 7 of these 8 wires. Right, let me get into my little clamp and we'll get started. Now, I know it looks like those two are actually connected, but let me spin it round and you'll see they are not connected, it's just a shadow. Okay, we're using that as reference. So where do we begin? Let's start at this side and work our way that way, otherwise I'm right-handed, so it makes sense to start there and work my way back. So we're going to be doing the black and the grey first of all. So black is at the top, Now I've already pre-tinned all my wires to make life a little bit easier. And I do have some solder on my soldering iron. However, I'm just going to put some flux over everything else, so that really all we should have to do is just touch these against the terminals, and they should glue. Well, solder, same thing, just very hot glue. Right, black, top left. This is very fine. I think I'm actually a wee bit close from that terminal to that terminal, so I'm going to desolder that and move it across a little bit. I'm not happy with that one. You can't do this too much because the plastic they're in will give way, and that's you lost your pin. Okay, so the black is on, nice and solid. Let's get the grey on, which lives next to it. Oh, all the other wires want to get involved. Not yet. Just hang on. You'll get your chance. So grey. Okay, next top one is the one that's not getting used. The one below that is white. Don't worry, I will explain what all the wires do. It's not that complicated really. I just want to get them attached to this first. Stop misbehaving. Right, so the white one's going down now. Again, just making sure it's not touching its neighbour. It's just a little bit close for comfort. I'm going to take that off and put it on again at a bit more of an angle. Like that. It's a bit better. Lovely. Move on to the next row, which will be yellow at the top, blue at the bottom. Yellow at the top. Oof, running out of space here. Yellow at the top of the next row. Lovely. Blue at the bottom. And finally, we have the one that fell out was the orange one at the top. And red at the bottom. Lovely. So that is our little plug wired up. I suppose I should tell you what they all are then. Quite simple really. Red and the black, they probably look familiar to you. Red is your right rail pickup, power coming in from the track. Black is the left rail pickup, power coming in from the track to complete the the circuit for a normal DC operation. So then they go into the decoder through this plug. Then they come back out of the decoder via the orange and the grey. So the orange would go to the positive of the motor, and the grey would go to the negative of the motor. So that's the power in and power to the motor sorted. The other wires, which you will notice there are three of, the yellow, the white and the blue. A blue is the constant or the common positive for any lighting that you add. So the blue one will feed all the positive side of all the lighting, right? Yellow is your rear headlight negative, and white is your front headlight negative. That's all there is to it. So we should be able to plug this in and away we go, except for one minor huge thing. this monstrosity of a mess with all these plugs, and I need to change the bulbs. So that's next, get the new bulbs in. And I'm not sure if they're going to fit in place because they're a little bit bigger than those wee guys. As you can see, just a smidge bigger, and they're supposed to fit in there. So I will see if they fit in, maybe a bit of glue, or maybe even just a bit of tape to hold them in, and then try the shell on. If they don't fit in, we're going to have to think of something else. I would rather not have to glue everything to the inside of the shell, because that's a pain in the neck, especially if you want to work on it in the future. Okay, let me look into that. You know what? I'm not convinced I've actually got enough space to install this decoder where I want it. I kind of wanted it to be about there, but look at the height difference there. This is the little plug that was on top, and I've got a feeling that is just millimeters from the roof section, that bit there. So if I was to add a plug onto this, you know, this little plug goes in into the thing that that's plugged into, then the decoder would need to sit up here. I don't think that's going to fit. Alternatively then, I just undo all that hard work, remove this plug, wire all these wires to all these wires instead, and then I think the decoder will just sit in there, just like that. And then we don't have any height issues, possibly back that way. Yeah, that's probably the best option. So yeah, I think that's what we need to do. Maybe a wee bit of glue to hold that on. Not sure which way around. I really don't have a lot of height. That's the problem with these tiny little switchers. Not a lot of places to put a decoder, and I can't even put it in this section because it's all full of people. Right, let me retro or undo this, and then I'll just attach it to all these wires and explain what I've done once I've done it, because it's a complete mess now. If I'm going to do a decoder install from scratch, I'd rather show you from scratch. Okay, see you in a minute or 10. Well, it's been a while. Now what I've done here is, you can see how much these lights are sticking up. I think they're supposed to really sit inside that little box. So that might be hitting the top of this. We won't know yet until I try and ram it on. And the other one, that's actually the front there, which is better than the one at the back, but we'll see. And I think I've got enough room now there. I think those wires will take up as much space as that old chip was taking up, this thing here. Everything else is wired and taped up, and the decoder sits really nicely in that little recess, so I'm happy with that. But I don't know if these bulbs are going to be sticking up too much. We'll give it a shot. So that's the front. Let's see if we can slide this cover on. It would be nice if it just slipped right on. Oh goodness, it's really tight in the sides as well. I think I'm going to have to get this wire tucked in a bit more, because I can see the side of this shell is trying to pinch it. They did not leave a lot of space in this low coat for adding a decoder. Remember that clip I told you about right at the start? That's dragging us down. Of all the things, it's actually the tape that's preventing this from going down. This is not ideal. Oh, there we go. Right, are you going to go all the way? And my wire's going to hit the roof. Did I get them round the right way, front and back? Okay, I think something's hitting there. You see how it's bowed there? We're not even nearly at the top. Something must be fouling somewhere. Oh, no, I need to take this off, see what's going on. Ah, come on. Try not to break it. So while I have this off again, I'm going to tidy up that tape, because something is not happy. Oh goodness, so tight. Wow, it's actually pulled the tape off with it. Right, let me come up with something else and see if we can get this on and find out. I think it was the wires that were preventing it from getting on. Right, let me try something else. Let's try it like this. So that wire and that black wire at the side, I've tucked them round the front this time so that they're not hanging down the side, and with a bit of tape over the whole lot. That bulb, I think, has to be back about there. So let's see if we can carefully lie some tape on the top. That's too far forward. Let's try a bit there. Yep, there. Cover the whole lot. Keep everything inside the shell width. All the way to the back. Squish it down a bit. See, that's the sort of little straggler there that causes the shell not to go on. If that just hooks over the edge there, then shell will not go on. So get in there. I want this thing in the track like this week, you know. Okay, let's try again. I don't think it was a height thing. I think it was just getting snagged up. Right, let's try again. Oh my goodness, I think the decoder is actually just a smidge too wide. That would suck. I don't want to have to use one of those little mini decoders because they don't really hold a lot of power. Just making sure I've got this around the right way. Yes, I definitely do. Front. Yeah, actually it says front there. Look, it says front, front left. Okay, I think that was a bit easier than the last time. We're almost in. There's definitely something in the middle it's not happy with. Like, oh wait a minute. Look, we're in. Almost. That's unclipped again down there, you see it? That wasn't a breaking sound, don't panic. He lies. That still turns, that still turns. I think we did it, guys, I think we did it. Yeah, I think we did. Let's get to the track, see if it works. I'm not holding out much hope for the rear light because it has one of those little plastic prismy things and it does a wee snaky thing. LEDs are not good for those, but the front should work. Let's go. Now, I did throw this in the track earlier before I installed the lights, just to make sure I had the motor wired the right way around, and strangely enough it was wired the wrong way around, so I had to change that. Not my fault, it's the way this has been wired up, very strange. Or at least that's the way it was wired up for the chip that was on the top. Right, I've not checked the lights, so let us see then. Number 8455. Let's try a headlight. No headlight. Do we have power? We have power. Why do we not have headlight? Headlights are round the wrong way. This is bizarre. Now remember I said I swapped the motor back and forward? I wired it up so that it was going forward according to that little F thing. So if I click on forward, that's it going forward, but the lights are around the wrong way. That's very frustrating. The only way to solve that, other than swapping the motor back again and having it going backwards when it's meant to go forwards, is to swap a couple of the lights round. Might be able to program it differently, but it's easier just to take the shell off and swap those wires. So let me go and whip it off the track, and I'll do that because that's bugging the heck out of me. Well, you're not going to believe this, but some idiot wired the front and back lights the wrong way around. If I catch whoever that was, I tell you. Ah, well. Easily done by me, apparently. Okay, so we should be good to go this time. So, forward and headlight, please. Yes, there we go. I've gone for a nice soft white bulb. And since I took it apart and cleaned all the gears and lubed them, it's absolutely silent now. So nice. Now, it's not mega heavy. It's not going to haul a lot. But it's not designed to do that. It's supposed to just prep a train before the big train comes along and picks everything up, right? Oh, I actually need to check the back light because remember I was worried that it wasn't going to make it all the way to the back end. Let's have a wee look at that, shall we? Need to let it go past first. Looks like the interior cab light's up. I don't know if it's supposed to. I didn't even notice if the actual headlight was working. Send it away again and bring it back. Right, concentrate on the light at the top this time. I'm going to turn this brightness down a little bit so we can see what we're looking at. Okay, so the wee light at the top's sort of on, but it's mostly cab light, which I don't hate, to be honest. It only comes on in reverse. Oh, I can live with that. Main thing is, it's now DCC. We can continue playing with this with the rest of the trains at the same time. Awesome. Time to dig out some freight, put it to work. Don't worry, my next install video will be a bit more detailed and make sense and be better. Take care everyone, see you soon.